Many people look at me funny when I say this, but um, one of my favorite alcoholic drinks is actually gin. Like so many people think gin is disgusting, unless you're English, I suppose. I don't know. Like British people drink gin. Sorry, but I actually like gin quite a bit. I can't really explain why. It's like that taste of juniper berries at the end, like that aftertaste. I like that. It's good. I like gin. That's not what I'm drinking now. I'm not. I don't like to really drink alcohol when I'm doing these things. Although I can see how that could get interesting if because I'm already just kind of spewing out gibberish, just random thoughts that come to mind anyway when I do these random streams. But yeah, I can see how that could get interesting when I'm not really fully myself. I can talk more nonsense. Although that has kind of happened in the past because I have intentionally streamed when I was really tired. Like I came back from work or something, so I was really exhausted. And when you're tired and very sleepy, then it sounds very similar to when you're talking while drunk. So I have done that in the past. It's not like that's never happened. Ooh, okay, that one looks a little difficult actually. You know what? 90 XP, right? This is tempting because, like, for Euro Truck, I wouldn't care. I might just skip it altogether. But American, I still need to work up my level a little bit. But you know what? I don't want to waste too much time on this. I'm already not doing so hot in terms of parking. So let's just get it over with. Oh yeah, so I was saying something about gin before. Yeah, I don't really know when I developed a taste for gin, but it's something I like. Um, and my favorite brand of gin is the Bombay Sapphire. So I will occasionally, like when I'm at a bar or something, which doesn't happen a lot because I don't really drink that often. But when I'm at like a social occasion or something, this was supposed to be easy. Uh, then I'll order like a sapphire and tonic with lime. So that's kind of my drink. Uh, it's not unique or special, but and some people who don't really know me will look at me funny when I order that. It's like, why are you drinking that? But hey, I don't care, man. That's what I like. I like what I like, man. Okay, here we go. Yeah, like other brands of gin is fine too. You know, Beefeater, Hendrix. Actually, I'm not a big fan of Beefeater. Apparently, among people who like gin, Beefeater is like a popular brand, but I don't know. I've tried it. It's not to my taste. See, the Sapphire, maybe it's like maybe it's like a psychological thing because if you know, well, you can even if you haven't seen the bottle, you can imagine from the name. It's called Bombay Sapphire. It's got that clear blue color. Okay, 102 miles. Hold on, let me just quickly check this. 150. Okay. 150, 150. Okay. Okay, this I don't want to go that way though. So yeah, maybe it's a psychological thing because the color of the bottle is this really pretty sapphire blue color, uh, clear clear glass, and because of the blue color, it kind of reminds you of berries. I don't know, but either way, I like the Bombay Sapphire because it has. I feel like it has a stronger aftertaste of that juniper berry scent, and I like that a lot. So that's usually my drink. Um, okay, where is this trailer? I have to go somewhere else. I also like Jameson Irish whiskey. I used to like Scotch, but then I mean Scotch is still good. I still like Scotch, but like single malt Scotch, regardless of which distillery. I mean, there are certain distilleries that are better than the other, of course, and the price tag goes up along with it. But when it comes to single malt, like most of them I like. When I went to Scotland a few years ago, I went to a distillery. Uh, the name of it I cannot remember at the moment. I have it written somewhere. Sorry. But I went to a single malt distillery and I had a tasting there, and my God, wasn't what that was good. And I don't even drink that much. I just because I have a very low tolerance for alcohol, so even just like a single can of beer will actually give me pretty severe headaches afterwards, and pretty quickly too, within hours. So imagine having a really bad hangover, or which I assume what hangover feels like because I never really get to that point. I could never get to that point. It like my agony starts before the point where most people start having hangovers. So I imagine that's what hangover feels like. But imagine having a hangover after like a single um, can of beer in like within 3 hours, 2 3 hours. That's basically me. So I have a super low tolerance of alcohol. So I don't really drink that often. But the unfortunate part of this story is that I actually enjoy the taste of a lot of hard liquor. It's very sad because it's like I enjoy it, but I can't really drink it. Um, yeah, but that's the way it is. So I don't drink much, mostly because I'm kind of afraid of the aftermath. It's kind of a negative conditioning. Um, but that single malt I had in Scotland, what was the name? I don't remember. Was incredible anyway. It was one of the blends because things like Johnny Walker, it's a blended whiskey, right? Which means they blend various different single malts to make their own thing, and I'm sure there's more to it, but from a layman's perspective, that's like the idea, right? That's why they're called blended whiskeys. And this particular distillery that I've been to was one of those that go into Johnny Walker. And I'm not a well, granted, I've only had Johnny Walker Black Label, so I don't know the quality of some of the higher levels of Johnny Walker, which I've heard are quite good, and that's why the price tag is attached to those. But to my memory, I have not had the higher level Johnny Walker. But yeah, the single malt I had was one of those that go into it, and that was that was amazing. But in terms of whiskey, my favorite I have to say is Jameson Irish whiskey. Although I do like the Japanese whiskey from Suntory, the Yamazaki, the one that actually recently won like the world whiskey whatever championship. I don't know what it's called, but there's an award given by some whiskey authority. I don't know really, but I remember that being in the news because usually those whiskey awards go to like a Scottish distillery, which makes sense given that whiskey is really like a Scotch. Well, I don't want to say it wrong, but at least there it's well known in that area and it's kind of their thing. So it's not too surprising to have them win most contests. But this one year, which I think was last year or sometime very recent, a Japanese whiskey won that league, and that became a big news. That was like a major hit to the ego of Scotch distilleries, and that became a big news. So I remember that, and I have tried that whiskey. It's good. I can see like I'm not a connoisseur of these things, so I can't tell you exactly like I can't describe the taste, but I do remember tasting it and enjoying it quite a bit. But still, my favorite is Jameson. It's not like Scotch whiskey or even bourbon, which is American whiskey. It's got a different taste. Jameson is a little sweeter than Scotch or bourbon, and that's actually why I think a lot of the whiskey connoisseurs, or I don't know if that's the right term, that might be like a wine term. I don't know, like whiskey fans, whatever. You get the meaning. The whiskey people, I think those who dislike Jameson dislike it because it's too sweet, and I think a lot of fans of whiskey drink it for like the what do you call it? Like the oaky, smoky. Not sure how to describe it, but that taste that comes to mind when you think of like a Scotch whiskey. I think that's why people drink whiskey. Those who like whiskey. And Jameson, of course, is sweeter, which is not quite like Scotch or bourbon, and that may be why it's not as popular among the whiskey mania group people. But I don't know. I like Jameson quite a bit. It's good. So if I'm not having my Sapphire and Tonic, then I'll have Jameson. Um, Usually on the rocks.